Operators. What are operators? Operators are reserved keywords or characters. They're used within a where clause to perform operations to help return exactly what you're after. So an example of that might be if I'm after all cars that are blue or white, or is my operator. Arithmetic operator. An example of this might be if I have an employee who has 30 days holiday per year. They've already had 5, so let's subtract 5 from the 30. That is going to show us how much holiday they have left. Subtract is my arithmetic operator here. Logical operators. An example might be I want all cars that are blue and over 5 years old. Comparison operators. Equal to. Everyone has seen an example of how equal to works. Not. Now this is generally used alongside other operators, which I'll show you a few examples of shortly. Equals. This is a comparison operator. It's used to provide an exact match. So there's no half words that you can put in. You have to put in the exact phrase, the exact word, the exact value that you're after. It's the simplest and most used operator. And to use that, you just use the equal sign. For string text, such as words, names, towns, cities, quotes are needed either side of the value that you're putting in. If you don't, it will error. So let's look at some examples. So I've opened up a new query. I'm going to use AdventureWorks 2017. Execute that. So now I'm querying AdventureWorks. I'll just select, start from. Let's have a look at some tables. Let's look at human resources schema and the employee table. You can select everything from there. However, I might want to see just the Chief Executive Officer. So I can use my where clause, use my job title. Now as this is a word, I need to put it in quotes. I can run that and it will return. If I don't have quotes in there, you'll have this horrible squiggly line to show you that you need quotes, and it will error. So let's have a look at his sick leave hours. So I can drag this where sick leave hours equals 69. I'll run that and that'll show me everyone in that table who has sick leave hours of 69. Now I can also put this in quotes as well and it won't error, it will still pass that in. Perfect. That is how we use the equals operator. It needs to be an exact match. So if I was just to put Chief Executive up here, it's not going to return anything. So that's an example of how we use the equal operator. The in operator. This is a comparison operator. It allows you to specify multiple values within a where clause. It's an or as well. So is the value text 1, or is it text 2, or is it text 3? And any values within there, it will return in your result set. Unfortunately, it can't be used with a wildcard. Now, this is ideal if you know the exact match of what you're after. So it's like an equal statement, except you can specify several strings within it. It will search every row within your query. So if you're querying 100,000 rows, it's going to take quite a bit of time. So you might want to add a few more operators in there and trim down that query. You can't use it with the wildcard, as I said. So let's have a look at a few examples. So I've opened up a new query. I'm going to use AdventureWorks 2017. Run that. Now I'm querying AdventureWorks 2017. So let's take a look at the Human Resources Employee table. Query that. And I'm going to do where job title in, let's do it in capitals, I prefer it like that, quotes, application specialist. And that's going to return me all the rows where the job title is application specialist. Now, as you've probably noticed, that is exactly the same as an equals, which I'll do here. However, what we get with in is we can take this, and I might want to also return sales representative. So what this query will do now, it's going to search through the whole table and it's going to say, is the job title application specialist? If it is, I'm going to return it. Or is it sales representative? Because if it is, I'm going to return that as well. I've got all of those. So if I wanted, I can put as many of those as I want in there. So I can take Chief Executive Officer, query that. You can see the 3 results here. I could also do where vacation hours, I like to keep everything in capitals, so excuse me, where vacation hours is in 74 and 73. So with this one, I don't need quotes, just as I wouldn't with an equals statement. So that's an example of how we use it in. We can use it with single values. If you are, you might as well use equals. If you want more than one result, then throw it in and you can specify as many values as you want, and SQL will return that. And it's as easy as that. SQL like operator. This is a comparison operator. It's used to look for a word or pattern within a string, and it's used with a wildcard, which is shown as a percentage sign. Now, the pros of the like operator are that it's a great operator to use if you know the start or end or any part of a string. It's used really well if you can use your where clause properly. Now, the cons of this, however, it's an expensive operator, means it's going to search a lot, so it can slow down your query if you're after a large result set. So be cautious with this, because it may return more rows than you're expecting. So I've opened up a query here within AdventureWorks, and previously we saw the equals operator, which is going to provide us with an exact match. Let's run that within AdventureWorks, and it'll provide us an exact match. As does the in operator. This also provides us with an exact match. However, what would happen if I only know part of that job title? I might only know executive. In that case, I could take this query. Let's take these out. I could change this to a like. And this won't return me any rows. However, I could put a percentage at the end, and a percentage wildcard at the other end, and it's going to search for anything with the word executive in the string. So we can still see down here the Chief Executive Officer is returned. Now, what the wildcard does, it will show anything after the percentage sign or preceding the percentage sign. So if I didn't have a percentage sign there, it will show me anything starting with the word executive and any string after that. So here we can see that it hasn't returned any results. So let's take a look at another example. We'll take this query and I'm going to look for the word chief. Let's do that properly. So after that, as we can see, it's returned anything with chief in the title, which is Chief Executive Officer and Chief Financial Officer. So let's take a look at specialist. We can see there isn't anything there, but what happens if we place percentage there? We can see we've got all sorts of specialists within here. So my advice would always be, if you're unsure, always put the wildcard each side of the string that you're after. However, if you know that it starts with chief, for example, then there isn't any need for this because it will speed up your query without having to put a percentage at the start. Because what SQL will do, it will scroll down through the job title and find anything starting with specialist and look after that. If you had a percentage either side of it, it has to search the whole string and every single row, so it can slow down your query. And that's the example for the SQL like operator. Not operator. This is a logical operator and it's used to exclude values from results. So you usually use it alongside other operators such as in and like. Not is used alongside operators to exclude results. For example, not like, which would use like that. Not in. So previously we showed you how to use in, and if I wanted to exclude 1, 2 and 3 from my results, at the start of that in I could place not. To represent not equal to, we would use those two symbols, or the older syntax, which I think has been phased out in SQL Server. I'd advise not using that, but you will see it from time to time in older code. I've opened up a new query, and let's get in AdventureWorks 2017. Again, I'm going to use the Human Resources Employee table. Let's get all the results from that. And we've looked at job titles that are in Application Specialist. Let's look at Marketing Assistant and Application Specialist. So this is just returning all job titles that are Marketing Assistant or Application Specialist. Now, if I wanted to exclude those, I can do not. It's going to return me everything without these two in it. Really, really handy. Really, really good to use. Now, one of the easiest operators is the equals operator. So let's have a look at vacation hours is equal to 99. And that's going to show us all results where the vacation hours is equal to 99. Now I can use not equal to, which is this symbol here, and that's going to show everything apart from vacation hours that are equal to 99. As you can see down here, you won't see any 99s in our result. Now you can use this alongside several other operators, so I'd advise having a play about with a few operators that will work over here, because it's extremely handy to use in any queries that you write. greater than, less than. Greater than and less than. They are comparison operators. They used to show values greater or less than a value, but not equal to a value. This is important to remember. And they're used primarily with numbers. Let's have a look at the syntax for a second. The syntax is shown as follows. To show greater than, we'd use this symbol. To show less than, we'd use that. Greater than or equal to, we'd stick an equal at the end of it. And the same goes for less than. So here are a few examples. So here I have a query from the employee table, and I'm going to show you job title and vacation hours. So I'm going to execute that. And as you can see, we've got every job title and the vacation hours that relate to that. So let's order those for a second so we can see. So we can see who has the least and who has the most vacation hours. Now, I might want to see any vacation hours that are greater than 30. So I can use my greater than just here, enter the amount that I want to see greater than, press F5, and that will show me all vacation hours that are higher than 30. Alternatively, I can take the same query and I can see any values that are less than 30. Highlight that and I'm going to execute it. So this is any values. I'll show you the highest values first. So the highest value is 29. Now let's just show you those two queries put together. I'll show you the top result for each. As you can see, we've got 31 and 29. So these queries show us anything higher than 30 or less than 30, but it's not showing us the number 30. So to do that, I'll take the same query. Let's do greater than first. Greater than or equal to 30. Let's take the top one out. I'll order those. As you can see, it's included a number 30 for us. And likewise, the same applies for anything less than or equal to 30. So I'm going to write exactly what this is less than. This is greater than 30. Greater than or equal to. And this one shows us less than or equal to 30. So what this highlights is the importance of understanding what these operators are and how they work. I'm sure there's hundreds of people out there that have thought that greater than will include the number 30 in their queries and provide inaccurate results. So that's how greater than, less than, and equal to work. Between operator. This is a logical operator. It will return all rows between and included the values provided. Let's have a look at a few examples. So here I am in AdventureWorks 2017, and let's take a look at the employee table again. execute this. And we're going to use the hire date. So what happens if I want to see whether hire date is greater than 30th of June 2008? We can run that and it will show us everything where the hire date is greater than 2008. Now what happens if I wanted to see anything within a range? So I might want to see anything that's less than 2009 but greater than 30th of June 2008. And hire date is less than 30th of June 2009. This executes fine, and we can see, show the last result, 2009 before June. This is great and this works. However, we could use the same query in a lot less and a lot neater code. So we could do a hire date between 30th of June and 30th of June 2009. This uses a lot less code, it's easier to read, and it will return us the exact same number of rows. It should be 198 rows, and it should be 198 rows here. And SQL Server handles these exactly the same. It's just this one uses less code. Now we can take the exact same logic and do it with vacation hours, where vacation hours is greater than 50, return us all vacation hours that are greater than 50, or we could do between 50 and 60. And it works in exactly the same way with far less code. The OR operator. The OR operator. This is a logical operator, and it can be used in exactly the same way as IN is used. SQL handles an IN in the same way it handles an OR. And it allows us to be more granular with our where clause. So here I have a simple query that shows that marketing assistants and application specialists using my OR operator. Now I can take that same query and I can convert that to an IN. Like so. And this will return me the exact same results. SQL handles these exactly the same way. I'm asking for exactly the same thing, and in this case I'd rather use an IN, to be honest. It's a lot less code. So how can an OR be used? Let me show you another example. I might wish to find out where marketing assistants and gender is female. So I can put that within a subquery, put it in brackets. So what that's going to say is, show me all job titles where it's application specialists and female marketing assistants. That shows me exactly what I'm after. Now we have to be careful with this, because if I wanted to also see job title is tool designer, what do you think the results will return? It's only going to show me female marketing assistants. And the reason for that is the first part of this is I'm asking SQL to show any results where the job title is application specialist and tool designer. I'm not asking for an OR, I'm asking for AND. So in this case I'd have to wrap it in an OR and run that. Alternatively, in this case, it'd be a lot neater to place these within an in. I've got the in there. That shows me what we're after. So I can be very granular with exactly what I'm after. And let's show you how. Job title equals tool designer, and gender equals male. So this is how we can use OR. OR allows us to ask for specific criteria that we can't ask for with an in or an equals. So here I have a query and we have some criteria that we need to find. We want to find all application specialists and sales representative job roles, females and single status. So we've seen previously that you can use the in operator, so we can run that and that show us all application specialists and sales representatives. But as you can see, we need to refine this down a bit further. So we can use more than one operator. We can use and, then we're after gender equals F for female, and that refine it further. I mean, we're at 8 rows now. Refine it further than that, and we can use marital status equals S, and that refine it even further down to 5 rows to show us the exact criteria that we're after. However, there's a few things that we ought to think about when we're using more than one operator. We want to use the most restrictive clause first. So if I ran this part of my query first, we can see in the right hand corner there's only 18 rows. Whereas if we can see that, if I take this query again, and do gender equals female, you can see there's 84 rows, or if we took marital status, we can see there's 144 rows. So logically, we'd pick gender first. We'd pick the job title first because there's not as many rows to return. However, we know from previous examples that the in and the like and the or operators are very expensive. So to do this, it's going to search through every single row, which we'd rather save till last. We'd rather refine our query down first and have it only search through the last 15 or the last 20 rows that we've found. So in this case, we'd want to use gender, and we'd want to refine that down to just 84 rows. The reason being is there's only F in this, or we can use M. Those are the only 2 options. So for SQL, it's very easy just to return half of its results. So then we're already down to 84 rows. We can add our status in, and we'll refine that down to a further 35. So now we're going to put in our job title with our in, which is our most expensive operator. And so the expensive operator that's got to search through every row is now only searching through 35 rows instead of searching through 290 rows. Because an in, it has to search through every single piece of text within this field. Now, in a small table like this, you aren't going to see much improvement, but when you're searching through hundreds of thousands of rows, this logic and this practice can really speed up your query, and it's all part of tuning your queries to make them faster. So there are going to be lots of times when you need to have equals and ins and ors within your SQL where clause. So when you try to do that, make sure you have the least restrictive, or have the restrictive one first. That's the logic behind using more than one operator.